One of the things that I love about the Nelsons is that they have had decades of involvement in the community.
If you wanted people to be iconic for others in the community in terms of engagement and energy and enthusiasm, it would be the Nelsons.
They think about things, they build consensus, they make a committee, they get ideas, and then they move forward.
I mean, big parts of both of their lives have been dedicated to community service.
They're the kind of people you want to have in your community. They're doggedly determined at all the things they've been involved in to make things work in our community.
They're in it together in a really impressive way.
The theme of the Nelson family has always been, the world is made up of many individuals. Not all are alike, but each one has a right to expect that they will be treated as decent human beings should be treated.
They are true, in my mind, selfless civic servants.
If you took just what Kenny has done with Mary's support and encouragement, that would be in and of itself enough to warrant this award. If you took only what Mary had done with Kenny's support and encouragement, that would be enough for them as a couple to receive this award. But when you combine what they have done together as a couple, both individually and together, then their accomplishments are truly extraordinary.
What is it like to work with Kenny and Mary? You get inspired, you get energized, you become their admirers and feel the honor of being a small part of what they're doing.
There are many points in the PSO's history where extraordinary things happened because of Mary's leadership.
Mary's done an awful lot for the life of music in Portland. She's a dedicated and ferociously loyal volunteer for the many groups that she's worked for, and she's also been a participant.
I was president of the board, and Mary was a very active member of the board, and she was just such an amazing, good source of energy.
All along the way, Mary practiced her love of music. She sings with the Choral Art Society, appearing on stage several times each year in their concerts, with Mary's continuing involvement in the PSO's major activities. We are very fortunate to welcome Kenny Nelson to the Board of Trustees. Kenny, also a devoted and passionate music lover.
One of Kenny's legacies, I'm sure, will be his involvement with Center Day Camp. It's beautiful acreage on Big Sebago Lake that his father and my uncle played major roles in establishing more than 60 years ago. He, with David Small, ran a fundraising campaign and literally rebuilt the camp. And more recently, he again chaired another very successful campaign, and it is now a gorgeous facility that's twice as large as it was originally.
Ken has always said to me that the Center Day Camp is a gem, not only because of the wonderful physical location of the property, but also because he really believes that when Jews and non-Jews interact, a lot of the stereotypes go away. And it's, in Ken's view, one of the most effective ways to combat anti-Semitism.
I first met Kenny and Mary when I became president of the University of Southern Maine in 1991. One of the great accomplishments was that we had just gained an electrical engineering program. People said, that was Kenny at work. Well, that was just the beginning of our partnership. Kenny and Mary were supportive throughout all 16 years of my presidency.
It was Ken's goal to work with the administrations at the University of Southern Maine to help create a great American university.
And his approach was terrific for someone like me because I didn't go there, Kenny didn't go there. He didn't really have a reason to be doing what he was doing so energetically except a true belief in the importance of that institution.
Mary became the development director at the law school when my predecessor, Don Zillman, was the dean. And then when I became dean in 1998, Mary, of course, was development director. Development directors and deans work very, very closely together. And so we had a good time. We had a really good time.
And Mary became the chair of our board, of our Music Advisory Board, which is comprised of community members who are very, very supportive of music in the community and of the University of Southern Maine. And in that role, she has had such great insight and wisdom and action, and everything about her has been just wonderful. She's helped bring us to the forefront, and she understands the importance of the School of Music in the community, in the state, and in the region.
Well, in an official capacity, Mary and I served on the Falmouth Town Council together in the 80s. Mary is smart, well-prepared, and engages always on the issues and never the personalities. So she's a consummate professional to work with.
Well, when many people would just rest on their laurels, I was impressed that Mary, for example, ran for the legislature.
She's serving in, I believe, her 5th year, representing the municipality of Falmouth in the Maine legislature. They both have a lot of courage. If they have something about which they believe strongly, they will have the courage to carry it out. And running for public office in today's world requires a lot of courage.
The timing of bringing Kenny on the Maine College of Art board was perfect because we were right in the process of redoing our strategic plan. And if there's somebody who's strategic, it's Kenny Nelson. He can think deeply and thinks creatively and has been a real influence in trying to get the Maine College of Art to think about the future, to think boldly but conservatively, to think about how we can really create a vision, not just for Mecca, but for that part of Portland, which is such an important part of the creative economy in Portland and in Maine.
We had assembled a fairly sizable collection of maps, and we realized that there were unusual and powerful cultural documents. History, you name it, any kind of human activities is reflected in the maps, so they can be used to teach. But they weren't being, and we decided that our collection would go to a university that would use them as teaching resources. We eventually arrived at an agreement with the University of Southern Maine to donate the collection, and the people who knew about it and stepped forward were Kenny and Mary Nelson, who volunteered to be co-chairs of the fundraising campaign for the map library. We set the goal of $1 million, and it overshot its goal. We raised $1.5 million. And put it over the top.
And it wouldn't have happened without Mary and Kenny. And it's a beautiful thing now.
After the campaign was through and we had the library associates, Mary served as the president of that group. The normal term for that is 2 years. She served for 5 years, longer than any other president.
So we're just lucky that Kenny and Mary chose to leave Boston 25, 30 years ago and come back to the town where Kenny was raised.
There's a lot of people out there who owe the success of their organization to the input that Kenny and Mary have given.
You know, when all is said and done, Ken and Mary have made Portland a better city, outstanding in the quality of life that it offers people.
They have been great examples of how we should all lead our lives and help the community.
Well, I'm glad to see that the community has finally done the most exceptional thing in picking these two for the Lifetime Awards. If anyone deserves it, it's the Nelsons.
Kenny is more of a convert to music than he is a natural adherent to music. I mean, Mary can sing. None of the four Nelson brothers has any capacity to sing, to the best of my knowledge. Okay.
I've actually thought about this a little bit before this interview. So he would, in fact, he's to blame for my bankruptcy. No, I'm just kidding about that. But he could get you to write a check to USM even if you didn't have the money, just because it was such an important venture.
I said, you know, Kenny, I've got to do this video. I said, what can I say? What should I say? And Kenny said to me, he said, you be sure and tell everyone that I married up, way up. So I thought, this is terrific stuff. And I said, I'll be sure and tell him that.
I love the fact that Kenny has great admiration and love for his fourth child, his pal, and his canine friend, Emma. Nothing is too good for Emma. No other dog is as good as Emma. And if Emma will only eat her food on a spoon served by Kenny, he is more than happy to comply.
When he'd pick me up to take me to services, he'd say to me, remember, the less you talk, the better it'll be. I said, why? Don't you want to hear what I have to say? He says, that's not the point. When you have less time, your function is better. Your formula is better. And he's right.